possessive landlord get a little too up close and personal with her party boy tenant after he moved into her Minnesota rental home?
I had a lady friend over one evening, and the next morning I received phone calls and text messages of her knowing of this. She sent me a text message saying, "So you have women spending the night at the house." Next thing I know, she's at the top of the stairs, and I was like, whoa, wait a minute.
I would ring the doorbell or knock first, and if he did not answer...
You just let yourself in?
Well, I was worried about his health, so I didn't know if I'd find a dead body in there or not.
There are a lot of things you can do before you decide to use your key, open up the door, and just walk in unannounced, because that's a serious invasion of privacy.
Plaintiff Audrey Benson says a defendant moved into a rental house after he broke up with her neighbor, but quickly fell behind on paying rent. She's suing for unpaid rent and various items. Defendant Jeff Landall says he doesn't owe any money because he had an agreement with Audrey to deduct rent for the improvements he made to her rental home. He's countersuing for harassment.
All rise. Court is in session. The Honorable Judge Faith Jenkins presiding. Please be seated. Your Honor, the litigants have been sworn in. This is the case of Benson versus Landall and Landall.
Thank you, Wanda. Audrey Benson.
Yes, Your Honor.
You are suing the defendant, Jeff Landall, and I assume this is your son, Brendan Landall, who's not appearing today? Okay. For $3,070, you say he owes you for mostly unpaid rent and then damages to a few items you say he caused damage to in your home?
That is correct.
And you are countersuing, sir, for $3,070, the same amount that she's suing you for harassment.
That is correct.
Is that just a coincidence that it's for the same dollar amount?
That is ironic, isn't it?
Okay, so we'll start with you, Ms. Benson. Why don't you tell me what's going on here and why you are suing your former tenant?
I had met him, and he had been living with my neighbor lady, so I was visiting with him over the fence and stuff like that when he'd be doing yard work, and got to know him that way. And he showed up on my doorstep one night, and my neighbor lady had kicked him out, and he needed a place to stay. And he asked if he could rent my basement. Mm-hmm. And I said, sure, because I was looking to sell the house to move.
And was there a written lease between the two of you?
No, there was not.
So it was just a month-to-month lease?
Yeah, it was a verbal agreement because he said he wanted to buy the house.
And then eventually you moved out and he rented the entire house?
Yes.
Okay, and how much was he paying a month to rent the entire home?
$1,450. Let
me hear from you. So far, is what she's saying accurate, that you approached her about moving into the basement because you had problems with your current girlfriend at the time?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Okay. Did you have an agreement that you would buy the home, or was that just a discussion?
It was just a discussion. There was never an agreement, nothing written. It was something to think about.
Okay. So, and what happened, Ms. Benson? What kind of tenant was the defendant?
He did keep the place neat. He took care of the yard and stuff like that.
Okay.
So the only basic problem was the lack of paying of rent.
So, but you're only suing for the last 2 months that he was in the home.
Yep.
And you say he didn't pay rent for those 2 months. You sold the home. That's why you had to move, right? Because she sold it?
That's correct, Your Honor.
But those last 2 months that he was there, he did not pay any rent, and that's what you're suing for?
Yes, he kept telling me he was going to, but I never saw it.
Okay, let me hear from you, Mr. Landall, about what it was like living in this home, because you said there were issues and there's a reason you didn't pay rent the last 2 months.
Things started happening that were strange.
Okay.
That were strange to me, and...
What do you mean by that?
Well, I think by the second, I was late on the payment, but I paid her in full. And I was out one night and I was approached by somebody, and I would say kind of a thug deal. He was there to do business, and I know that she had sent him.
What did he say to you? What happened?
He said, I need to see you outside. I was in an establishment eating. And he said, I didn't even know who he was. He just said, I need to see you outside.
Let's back up for a second.
It was, okay.
So you're at a restaurant eating.
Mm-hmm.
And you're by yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Someone comes inside and approaches you?
That is correct, Your Honor.
What did he say to you?
He just said, I need to see you outside.
And you said, okay, and got up and walked outside?
You know, I did.
Excuse me, Your Honor.
Okay, I want to hear this.
Okay, he was already sitting outside smoking.
I want to hear, were you there?
Yes, I was.
Oh, so you did have someone approach him?
No, I had a friend that I was talking to, and I was complaining about getting late on the rent.
So you were there.
My friend said, would you like me to talk to him?
Hold on a second. So you had a third party approach him?
Yes, but he was sitting outside smoking. He was
I really don't care if he was inside or outside. I want to know what was said. What was said?
And I actually said to him, I said, you know what? Out of my better judgment, I need a cigarette. I'll go outside with you.
Okay.
And we did.
Did you see her?
I didn't.
Okay, so you go outside and what happens?
He starts to explain to me that Audrey needs her rent, and I said, you know what, I paid her. And ironically enough, him and I became kind of friends.
He said to you, Audrey needs her rent, and what else?
That was basically it, and I just said, I'm not even late. I said,
well, that's not particular. You said it was a thug kind of approach.
Well, yeah, he was a big guy.
I understand he was a big guy, but so are you. You're not calling yourself a thug, though. So why is this guy a thug? Because he says to you, Audrey needs her rent.
You know what, he was a nice guy. But I think he was sent in that manner to enforce.
Be intimidating to you.
Correct, Your Honor. Yeah.
Okay, but there's a difference between asking you to pay the rent, saying Audrey needs her rent. Those words alone are not, there's nothing threatening about those words.
Right.
You think because they're coming from a big guy that it was meant to intimidate you?
No, it was the let's go outside. That was kind of intimidating.
Ms. Benson, you know that most landlords just send a letter, but you decided to send a real life person to tell him you need your rent. A letter just wouldn't suffice.
I was complaining, and he says, you want me to talk to him about it? And I said, well, that would be nice.
Coming up, the situation between Audrey and Jeff gets a little more complicated.
I had come home and somebody had tossed glitter all over my clothes.
You got glitter bombed in your own home?
On my bed, like the little glitter fairy came.
Who would do this, Miss Benson?
Plaintiff Audrey Benson says Jeff started avoiding her after he fell behind on his rent. She's suing for unpaid rent and various items. Defendant Jeff Landall says he doesn't know because Audrey never paid him for the improvements he made to her rental home. He's countersuing for harassment.
Okay, so Mr. Landall, is that the best you got?
No, there was other occasions. I had come out of the bathroom one time. Next thing I know, she's at the top of the stairs, and I was like, whoa, wait a minute. And
so she was letting herself in the house unannounced?
Yes.
Were you doing that?
If I did, I would rang the doorbell or knocked first, and if he did not answer...
You just let yourself in?
Well, I was worried about his health. He was always complaining that he had these health concerns, so I didn't know if I'd find a dead body in there or not.
So for his health and safety...
I can assure you, I'm very healthy.
What did she say when you saw her?
Well, I was startled. I was like, whoa, what's going on? And she just said, I just stopped by. I think
check on your health and safety?
Well, I don't think it was the health and safety, but I don't know the reason.
Is that true?
I think it was probably to collect rent, or to try to collect rent.
No, I believe that she stopped by.
Again, Ms. Benson, there are ways landlords go about collecting rent. There are a lot of things you can do before you decide to use your key, open up the door, and just walk in unannounced, because that's a serious invasion of privacy. What if he has a weapon? He's allowed to have a weapon in his home, and he hears a noise, doesn't know who's inside, and in his defense, he just shoots. It could happen. It's happened. There are cases where that has happened.
Your Honor, can I bring up another incident? I had a lady friend over one evening, and the next morning I received phone calls and text messages of her knowing of this. And I don't know how she would have known of it, but she sent me a text message saying, so you have women spending the night at the house.
Did you do that?
I believe it was in January, and I had the house on the market, and the realtor showed up at 10:30 or 10:45 to show the house, and him and the girl were still in the bed snoring away sound asleep on a Monday morning.
Your Honor, I was never notified of this.
But that's his house. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but he
lives there.
He was given notice that he was supposed to be out of the house if a realtor brought a prospective buyer to view the house.
I was never notified of anything.
Hold on.
Other than that I had a woman in my bed.
The agreement was that if a realtor would come by to show the home, he had to be completely
Out of the house.
Out of the house, and you notified him about this?
No, the realtor notified him.
I never received the nobody ever notified me.
So the
of
realtor
that.
walks in unannounced as well?
She had sent a text saying that she would be there at 10:30. When she walked in at 11:15 because the prospective buyers were late, they were in there snoring, at which time that realtor
She doesn't snore, by
called
the way.
my realtor to tell me, and
I
that's
snore.
how I found out about it.
What happened to, you said that in January and February, things got contentious between the two of you. Why did you stop paying rent in January?
The real stuff started in January. I had come home and somebody had tossed glitter all over my clothes, glitter, white glitter, in the basement.
You got glitter bombed in your own home?
On my bed, like the little glitter fairy came, and it was in the basement on my clothes. It was, my whole closet was filled. My
I'm trying not to laugh. I'm so sorry.
So I was, I was a little taken back by that, and I was like, okay, so I'm gone, and now somebody is doing this. This is odd.
Let me see the photos of the glitter.
I mean, it goes further than that.
That's a lot of glitter. Who would do this, Miss Benson?
We had an open house that Sunday, and this supposedly happened on Monday. And my realtor said there was a man and woman came into the open house. They walked in and they walked directly back to the bathroom, or back to his bedroom, or back to that area, and then turned around and left and didn't really see the rest of the house.
Well, did your realtor see that there was glitter? If you had an open house,
no. When
your
my
realtor never saw this?
left and walked through the house and turned all the lights off, she never saw any of the glitter. But she figures it was just one of, and I guess when she texted him, his comment was, well, somebody must be after me. And that's what he said to her.
But it was throughout the house. It was in my office, in my bed, on my bed, alongside the bed, the basement, my clothes. So somebody was through the house, which was, to me, I was like, and it goes further than this. All my nice clothes that were on the racks were just, I literally had to dry clean things. I had to wash things, and I don't know if you ever had glitter bomb, but it takes a lot to get it up.
Yeah, no, it does. It does. That's why I was trying not to laugh, because I know that it costs a lot of money to dry clean all the clothes from the glitter.
I have never had anything like this done to me.
I've heard of people in relationships retaliating against others and doing things to the clothes, cutting them or bleaching them, or there's that famous scene from Waiting to Exhale where she burns the car and the clothes and walks away in the flames. But I've never seen a glitter bomb like this.
Coming up on Judge Faith, the court investigates the claims of a secret crush.
She'd come over and say, let's her and I go out, and I'm like,
what does that mean?
When I first met him, with the gray hair and stuff, I thought he was older than what he was. But I realized he was only 50 years old, and sorry, I don't need a baby.
Plaintiff Audrey Benson says Jeff put her in a difficult financial situation when he moved out early and fell behind on rent. She's suing for unpaid rent and various items. Defendant Jeff Landall says he doesn't know because Audrey's inappropriate behavior made living in the rental home uncomfortable.
Go ahead. What else happened?
What happened then is my name was written on the bathroom wall. Now, I don't want to bring this up, but it has context of being gay. Mm-hmm. So I reply, and it's somebody saying that. Well, ironically enough, the same day, somebody posted my name on some website, which just blew up my phone for 2-3 months. And I couldn't remove it. And ironically, if you look at the dates, it's the same day she had texted me, the same day the post went online. And
Let me see the online post.
Huh?
The online post, please.
Absolutely. I think you have it there, Your Honor.
Oh, you handed it to me, okay.
And it's, it mentions that I'm a
fresh meat.
Fresh meat.
45 years old.
And
I'm sorry.
I don't know if you want to put that one on the screen here, but if you read
New to the scene, but open to anything.
I can laugh now, but it was, for 2 months, if you Google my number, it's, I'm telling you, for business standpoint, it's not.
Text preferred. blue-eyed jock, and then his phone number. I
Right.
can't read the
Well,
rest
thanks for
of
the
it.
jock part, but I couldn't remove it.
And you didn't put this up?
Absolutely not.
Okay, did you do this?
You know,
You have no
Your Honor,
idea.
I do not have the internet.
Because
I
here's
don't
what
have
happens.
Facebook. I don't have Twitter. I don't
But
have.
Your
Here's
Honor,
what
if you look at
happens
the
with
I
dates,
don't even know how to do anything
Your
like
Honor,
that.
if you look at the
fair
dates,
enough.
they're all on the same day.
It is a little suspicious that all of this happens on the same day, where you're texting him about the rent and all these things, and then his name and phone numbers on a bathroom stall. He gets an anonymous text message. Hey, drunk Jeff, didn't know you were on the DL. Got your number off the stall. Come on down to the name of this establishment, and I'll hit you up. So clearly, something was going on where I guess your number.
I was
and I
harassed.
can't read most of these text messages because they're just too vulgar.
Right.
Could have been the ex-girlfriend. Could have been the ex-girlfriend's
It could have
son.
been the fairy, the glitter
It could have
fairy.
been one of his other. He originally said to my realtor, "It looks like somebody is trying to get even with me for something."
And there was no relationship between the two of you ever.
No.
Besides and you didn't want more besides
She
the
had-
landlord.
she
tenant?
had-
So he's too young for me.
On one occasion, on a few occasions, she had brought up that, ironically, when I met my ex-girlfriend, I had met her at the same time. You know, she'd come over and say, "Don't forget, when you met her, you met me too."
What does
And I
that
was-
mean?
In other words, like, okay, you're not going out with her anymore. Let's her and I go out. And I'm like,
What does that mean?
I just said that's how long I had known him. I mean, he was.
that
he was
wasn't it.
When I first met him, with the gray hair and stuff, I thought he was older than what he was. But I realized he was only 50 years old. And sorry, I don't need a baby.
I was 49. These are blonde
Okay,
highlights.
40.
Okay, all right.
Judge Faith rules.
I know you're saying this is all one big coincidence, wink, wink, but
No.
it does look quite suspicious that all of this is happening around the same time.
Should
But
we-
listen, it's not enough. It's not enough for
Can
you.
I bring something up?
What, sir?
The reason she moved me into her home is she knew I'm kind of OCD-ish. But when I moved in the home, she had lived in it for quite a long time. It was in rough shape. I did a lot of work, a lot of cleanup, and I believe that she used me for the fact that it increased the value of her home for what I did to it.
But was there an agreement in place that
Absolutely not.
in lieu of rent, instead of rent, you would do this work? So there was no agreement?
No, it was out of good faith. But like I said, I respected the fact it was her home.
So here's where we are. I'm going to order you to pay the January and February rent. The remaining of your lawsuit for these miscellaneous items I'm dismissing. So let's assume you're at your favorite establishment and you order some hot wings. And they deliver the hot wings to you and you eat the wings, but when it's time to pay, you tell them, well, no, these wings weren't spicy enough. I really didn't like them.
That
You know what
may
they're going to
happen.
say to you? But you ate the wings, right? You ate the wings. So what I'm telling you is you have to pay for the wings because you ate the wings. You lived in the house.
That's correct.
Because you lived in the house, you have to pay the rent because you lived in the house. And you haven't met your burden of proving that it was the plaintiff that was the one behind all of the harassment. Judgment in this case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,900. Your counterclaim is dismissed. Good luck to both of you.
A Minnesota landlord and a small business owner find their friendship tested after an unexpected departure results in a broken lease.
When we sold our house to the cheese factory, he was aware that we would be moving on in time.
You've got everything sold, you collected a bunch of money in your house, and you want to stick me with 2 months of rent. It's not right. And you know it.
I need you to calm down and listen to what I'm saying.
And later, former friends face off in court after a friendly loan turns into a battle of the wills to get paid in full.
I had to contact Ms. Hamilton. She did not respond. She eventually called me back and said she was asleep. She gave one excuse after the next.
I was trying to go ahead and give her the money because if I was holding on to it, I could use that money to pay other bills that I have.
I don't understand what trying to pay someone means because most times when you owe someone money, they are not going to reject your money.
Plaintiff Richard Bates says the defendant is trying to move out of state and stick him with a broken lease. He's suing for the remaining balance owed on a lease and damages. He's accompanied in court today by Clint Maygard. Defendant Kenneth Felling says he doesn't know because Richard verbally forgave the lease. and is trying to back out of that agreement. He's accompanied in court today by his wife, Dolly Felling.
All rise. Court is in session. The Honorable Judge Faith Jenkins presiding. Please be seated. Your Honor, the litigants have been sworn in. This is the case of Bates versus Felling.
Thank you, Juan. Richard Bates,
Yes.
you are suing the defendant Kenneth Felling
Yes, ma'am.
for $2,075, the remaining balance owed on a lease and some damages you say he caused to your property?
Yes.
Okay, why don't we start from the beginning and you tell me what's going on here, sir?
I've been in business about 42 years. I manufacture a line of stereo speakers under the Bates label. And it was 1996, I chose to start renting out sections of my building to tenants. So I've been renting to tenants for 20 years.
This is in Minnesota?
Litchfield, Minnesota.
Okay.
Ken Felling chose to rent Suite 105 from me, and the beginning date was February 2nd of 2011.
Okay, but he's renewed, and then after that, they were subsequently one-year leases all the way
correct.
up until now?
Each renewal was a one-year renewal. The current last renewal lease expires August 1st of 2016.
May I see a copy of that one?
Yes.
And so, Mr. Felling, why are you leaving?
In my community, a small town of 6,000 people, we have a large cheese factory that has been acquiring properties toward my house. I was the last one to sell to them.
Okay, so you were the holdout on your block?
I was the holdout. I was going to put up a building on the back of my lot as a man cave, and
okay.
and met with
the man cave, not even in the house. The building on the back of the lot.
Back of my
That's
lot.
That's really a man cave.
Yes, ma'am. Anyway, they told me that they were not interested in my property for 10 to 12 years. I met with the CEO, looked him in the eye and said, I'm going to do this. And he said, go ahead. I did. 2 weeks later, he calls me and said, now they're interested.
So you drive a hard bargain because it's been 10 to 12 years.
I wanted to recoup what I had. I bought rafters and I had the cement poured.
So did they, you don't have to tell me how much they paid you for your house, but did you make a lot of money?
I came out on it, yes,
Okay.
Your Honor.
So now you're moving to another state?
We have 2 grandkids in Phoenix, and we decided maybe we want to leave the area. And so when we sold our house to the cheese factory, he was aware that we would be moving on in time.
But here's why we're here with this case, because you have a lease for your business that you have been operating out of the plaintiff's building. Your lease doesn't expire, although you have to be out of your home by the end of May. Your lease doesn't expire with the plaintiff until August. So he's suing you for the remaining months?
Yes, it'd be for the month of May and the month of June for $675. The July payment, he paid that in advance. In the beginning, he paid the first and last month's rent.
Okay.
So he would presently owe then for May and June.
Okay, so why haven't you paid for May?
There's 2 items that have failed to been accomplished that are in the lease.
What part do you say he's breaching?
It was the overhead door, has never been done. I think it's on page...
You've been there for 5 years, right?
Yes.
Who cares about the door now? You're leaving. Why is the door so relevant now? You've been here for 5 years.
Because you're leaving. You've sold everything in Litchfield. You're leaving July or May 31st. You've got everything sold. You collected a bunch of money in your house, and you want to walk out of Litchfield, and you want to stick me with 2 months of rent. It's not right. And you know it.
Well, Mr. Bates, I was going to make a point similar to that one, but since you've done it on my behalf, thank you for your help.
Coming up, witnesses provide more detail on the broken lease dispute.
We finally gave up after 3.5 years of
no, that's not true.
Everything Ken's wanted done, we've always gotten it done.
And later, Atlanta friends come to court over an unpaid loan.
So I explained to her that I would loan her the money, but of course that's what it was, a loan.
I tried to pay her 3 times. And she blatantly said, that's not how I gave it to you, and I want it back in full, paid in full.
Plaintiff Richard Bates says Kenneth can afford to pay the remainder of his lease. He's suing for the remaining balance owed on the lease and damages. Defendant Kenneth Felling says he doesn't know because Richard verbally forgave the remaining amount owed on the lease.
Do you have something you want to say, ma'am?
I told Richard in April that we were going to be moving, but I didn't know when. I also let him know in September and October that we had sold our business. And as far as the door, we finally gave up after 3.5 years of
Oh,
ever
no,
getting
no, that's
in.
not true.
Clearly, the issue with the door, if it were such a big issue, it would have been resolved by now because you would have either moved into another establishment or you would have withheld rent a lot sooner. What do you have to say, sir? Who are you?
Or he would have withheld the rent a long time ago.
My name is, I'm Clint. I do the maintenance in the building.
What do you have to say, sir?
Everything Ken's wanted done, we've always gotten it done. He also had a bunch of stuff stored in 2 different locations for like 3 years, and we also had to move this stuff. And I feel that he should have to pay the rent for having that stuff stored in those locations.
Okay, well, your boss isn't suing for those things. Tell me about the damages. You said he owes you $725 in damages to the property. How are you going to prove that?
I want to show you evidence, exhibits of the pictures showing the entire building as it sits and as it is now. And the reason I have that picture, the lease provides that they are to maintain the floors, walls, everything.
Well, they've been there for 5.5 years. There's going to be some normal wear and tear, and the law provides that they're only responsible for damages outside of normal wear and tear. You're showing me photos of all of his items that are still in place. He clearly has not moved out yet.
Correct.
So you're suing for damages that you don't know will be there. So if you think that someone is going to breach a
He's
contract...
already in breach. He's in default of his contract.
I'm not talking about the rent. I'm talking about the damages.
Okay.
I need you to calm down and listen to what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm talking about the damages. If you think that someone is going to breach a contract, but they actually haven't done it yet, you can't just run into court and sue them and say, well, listen, I don't know where they're going to be on Thursday, so I'm going to sue them Wednesday. They're going to breach this contract on Thursday. That's not how it works.
Okay. Would the court enter a judgment or a stay of judgment
to what I'm
if he
saying.
does not comply?
You're the one that wanted to bring this lawsuit now.
Right.
If you wanted to wait 6 days, if you wanted to wait until after he moved out, you could do that, but you didn't. So you're bringing it to me now. I'm making a decision based on the evidence I have now.
Okay.
He doesn't think that you're going to meet your bargain of this because you've been there for 5.5 years. All of a sudden, the last month, you're withholding rent because of this door. Clearly, that's not the reason why you're withholding rent. It's not because of this door. Let's just be real about it. You're not paying because you're leaving. His goal right now, he wants to catch you before you get out of town. Here's where this case for you takes an interesting turn.
Okay.
Every lawsuit has to be ripe for a court to review it, ripe, R-I-P-E. And what that means is there has to be an actual breach in order for you to recover damages. There is a breach in May, but the issue of ripeness is really about June because it's a future payment, it's a future breach that hasn't happened yet. Well, there's also something under the law called an anticipatory breach. And what that means is, does someone have reason to believe that this future breach is going to occur, so much so that they can bring a claim about it? And I think there is reason to believe that in this case. Based on the fact that you're there for the entire month of May, you've told him you're not going to pay the remainder of the lease and you're moving out of state. Based on these things and based on my analysis of the case, I'm going to order you to pay June's rent, which is due in a few days anyway, as we sit here today. $675 for May, $675 for June. Damages, sir, you have to take that up when it happens. So after he moves out, you assess the damages. I am not in a position to do that while he's still occupying the space in that building under the lease. So my total judgment in this case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,350. Good luck.
Judge's ruling was what she called it, and it is what it is.
I did not want this to happen, but I'm accountable to people like everybody, and it put me in a position where I was accountable. I had to go after the money that's due, and it's just contractually due in a lease.
Plaintiff Kenyatta Johnson says she loaned her former friend money for a deposit on a home, and now she wants her money back. She's suing for an unpaid loan. Defendant LaToya Hamilton says she doesn't owe because she tried to make payments on the loan, but Kenyatta refused the money.
Kenyatta Johnson,
Yes.
you are suing the defendant LaToya Hamilton
Yes.
for $550 you say she owes you for an unpaid loan.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, why don't you give me some background on your relationship with Ms. Hamilton?
I met Miss Hamilton in 2012. Our sons played baseball together. She learned that I was a realtor and later asked if I would find her and her family a rental home. I did find her home in 2012. I later received an email or text message from her in 2014 stating that she was going through some family issues. She needed to find another home. We did find her another home. However, based upon her credit and I guess some other issues, she had to submit an additional deposit to reserve the property.
And that's where the $500
Correct.
came in?
Initially,
Okay.
it was $500, yes.
Let me get some background from you, Ms. Hamilton. So the two of you were friends?
Yes.
How would you describe your friendship with her?
It was a good friendship. Our sons played baseball together. I was the team mom, so I interacted with the parents a whole lot. So we hit it off. We clicked.
Okay, and you're both in the Atlanta area?
Yes.
Okay, so tell me what happens. You say you loaned the defendant $500. What are the circumstances surrounding that?
The circumstances are, as I mentioned previously, the rental company required that she submit a additional reserve deposit, security deposit, based upon her credit. She was facing eviction in the previous property. I did not want her to forfeit, because she was going to forfeit that money that she had already submitted. Okay. I didn't want that to happen, so I explained to her that I would loan her the money, but of course that's what it was, a loan.
Now, what was the agreement in terms of when you would pay her the $500 back?
Okay, I told her that I would pay her, I would pay the loan in full by the first week of November.
Okay, so the next month?
Yeah.
November 2014?
2014.
And have you paid any of it back now that we're in?
I haven't paid
almost 2
any
years
of it.
later?
When I tried to pay Ms. Johnson back, when I contacted her the next week, I told her that I did not have all of the funds, and she blatantly said that that's not how I gave it to you, and I want it back in full, paid in full.
Okay, so then you save up the $500. If you only have a portion, then you give her $500.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do, but I was trying to go ahead and give her the money, because if I was holding on to it, I could use that money to pay other bills that I have.
So it's her fault that you don't know how to save up $500
I was saving up the money, but I was trying to pay her. I said, well, in good faith, to show good faith that I was trying to pay her back.
Coming up on Judge Faith, Facebook postings add more fuel to the fires of frustration.
She had been on Facebook purchasing her son $300 or $400 pair of tennis shoes, standing in line.
So you took a screenshot of her at Starbucks buying a caramel macchiato?
Absolutely.
She owes me $500. She should not be buying a caramel macchiato.
Plaintiff Kenyatta Johnson says she wants LaToya to pay her in full for the loan. She's suing for an unpaid loan. Defendant LaToya Hamilton says she tried to pay in smaller increments, but Kenyatta refused the money.
Did you tell her you didn't want any payments, you wanted the $500 or nothing at all?
I did, Your Honor, but that came much later on.
Okay.
Initially, the first week of November, I had to contact Ms. Hamilton.
Okay.
She did not respond. She eventually called me back and said she was asleep. She gave one excuse after the next.
I tried to pay her 3 times.
That's not true.
I don't understand what trying to pay someone means, because most times when you owe someone money, they are not going to reject your money.
She jumped through all the hoops. She unfriended me on Facebook. She did all of these things. I didn't have any other ways to contact her. We lost all contact.
So you didn't pay her back because you couldn't find her.
Exactly. I didn't have her phone number anymore because I got a new phone.
You say she did have money and she was not paying you. What evidence do you have of that?
She had been on Facebook. There were entries regarding her purchasing her son tennis shoes for Christmas, $300 or $400 pair of tennis shoes, standing in line to purchase those tennis shoes.
Where are the Facebook entries? Did you submit those to court?
Yes.
Let me see the Facebook entries. I'm telling you, y'all put all your business on Facebook, it will come back to bite you one day, especially when you owe somebody money. I'm not saying that's what happened, but I'll look at the evidence. Braves gear on, Brave earrings on, items to be autographed, waiting in line, chilling with my mini-me at the Atlanta Braves game. Braves
That wasn't
country.
at a game. That was a free event at Academy Sports and Outdoors. The Braves hold it every year for their fans, where you can get free
Out
autographs.
with my boo thing today. Just left Sarku Japanese. That's a nice restaurant in Atlanta.
No, it's not. It's in the food court at the mall.
The Threading Salon.
Just being honest.
So you took a screenshot of her at Starbucks buying a caramel macchiato?
Absolutely.
I'm not going to Starbucks.
You're like, she owes me $500. She should not be buying a caramel macchiato.
As you said, put it aside. Absolutely. I'm not going to Starbucks. I'm not buying Michael Kors purses.
Okay. And what I think she's saying is you look like you're out there having fun, having a great time. The struggle isn't as real as you want her to believe.
And now, Judge Faith rules.
What's the other $50 for in your claim, ma'am?
She came to ask me if I would give her an additional $50. So the total was $550.
Okay, so it's been almost 2 years later, and your reasoning as to why you haven't paid any of this money back is because she didn't want the money in increments. She wanted it all at once.
Yes.
And because you don't have the capability to put money aside and save it.
I could put the money aside, but
you couldn't pay her back the $500 all
She
at
should have
once.
accepted what I was giving her, and she could have wrote me out receipts, and then it would have been knocking off a little bit at a time.
Let me say this to you, Ms. Hamilton, because she didn't give you the $500 in increments, right? She gave it to you all at once because that's when you needed it.
That's right.
Because the day of, you were going to lose $2,200 and you needed $500. Your reasoning is completely unacceptable to me. It's been almost 2 years. Try harder.
But she
$550, judgment for the plaintiff. Let me tell you something. You haven't tried hard enough. Because if it hadn't been for the plaintiff, you wouldn't have a place to live. $550.
Thank you.
A tenant and his former landlord argue over the details of his sudden departure from a New Orleans sublet.
On November 1st, I received a text saying that he still had items in the place. I never received notification from him that he was fully out.
I do believe I did send a message that we were coming back to get the last item at the beginning of the day, and then we would be fully moved out.
I'm from Louisiana, born and raised. Y'all come here from New Orleans, you have one job, not to make us look bad. You're making us look bad right now.
Plaintiff Christopher Williams says he left his New Orleans sublet spotless, and the defendant is making up excuses to keep his money. He's suing for a rental deposit and rent rebate. He's accompanied in court today by his roommate, Christopher Kives. Defendant Angela Dallier says she doesn't know because Christopher was a messy and dirty tenant, so she had no choice but to keep his deposit. She's countersuing for harassment.
All rise. Court is in session. The Honorable Judge Faith Jenkins presiding. Please be seated. Your Honor, the litigants have been sworn in. This is the case of Williams versus Dallier.
Thank you, Juan. Christopher Williams.
Yes, Your Honor.
You are suing the defendant, Angela Dallier,
Yes.
for $2,508, the
Your
return of a rental deposit and rent rebate.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you are countersuing, ma'am, for $1,000 for harassment.
That's right. Yes, Your Honor.
So I understand that you were subletting from the defendant for a while?
Yes, Your Honor, since 2013, about April, end of April, beginning of May.
Okay, and you brought a witness with you today. You are Christopher Kives?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Why don't we start with you, Mr. Williams? Tell me how you met the defendant and when you moved into her property.
Okay, I had actually been living in the property since 2012 with a previous landlord before Ms. Dallier. In 2013, she moved out and Ms. Dallier moved in, and I signed a new agreement with her to continue renting the guest house behind the primary property for $1,300.
So the property is, can you describe the property for me, Ms. Dallier?
Sure. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath main house, and then we have a studio in the back, as well as a 2-bedroom, 2-bath cottage with an office that he's describing.
Okay, and this is in New Orleans, correct?
That's right.
And so you are not the owner of the property, but you lease it from the owner?
Correct.
And then the owner allows you to sublet?
Correct.
You're living in the cottage, the main house, and the two of you enter into a written lease?
Yes.
Okay, and how much was your rent?
It was $1,300, and we did increase in September 2015 to $1,450 because her rent had also increased.
Did you pay a security deposit?
Yes, $1,300 in the end of April 2013. And I have a receipt she wrote me for that here.
Perfect. So you paid a $1,300 security deposit. You don't dispute that, am I correct? Okay, and then the rent was $1,450 a month. What kind of tenants were they?
Well, first of all, I've never seen or met that other individual over there.
Okay.
He's been my roommate since basically 6 months after she moved in. And before that, I did have another roommate as well. I've always had a roommate since before she moved in.
Is he on the lease?
No. He moved in after, when my girlfriend at the time moved out, December 2013, and then he moved after. I did inform her at the time that someone else was moving in, but he never had an agreement.
So you knew he had a roommate. You just didn't know who the roommate was.
Yes, exactly. Okay. And again,
I know you've never seen him, but maybe he's quiet. Maybe he likes to stay home a lot. So the 2 years that he lived there, what kind of tenant was he? Did he pay the rent on time? Did you have any issues?
No issues. I mean, he paid the rent on time. Yes, it wasn't the problem. The 2 years. I mean, we didn't see each other much, even though he's in the back of the property. He has his own entrance, etc.
Okay. Sounds like the perfect tenant. You don't see him, you don't hear from him, he pays the rent. What more could you ask for?
Previously, perfect tenant, yes.
And so you moved out in early November of last year. November 1st is the date.
Yes, we told her we were moving out October 5th, that we would be moving out at the beginning of November.
You send her a text on October 5th telling her that you're moving out in
Yes,
November?
Your Honor. I
Is that
tried.
true?
He sent me a text on October 5th saying that he was moving out at some point in November. That's correct.
Some point in November. Okay. So, and what happens? When do you move out, sir?
We were completely out by November 1st. Because our rent was due on the 1st and her rent partly relies on ours, she initially asked her something I could do for November. And before we moved out, on November 1st, I sent her a text message saying I could either give you a rent for the full month of November, and you can rebate me for the days past the 5th once you have a new tenant or the end of the month, or you could use the deposit for the same purpose. And in the text message, she did agree to that.
That's not true either.
For me to give her a rent check for November, and she could rebate me past the days of the 5th.
So you paid the full rent for November, and she has your security deposit.
And I have text messages here for that as well.
May I see the text messages?
Yes, may I see
I have
them
both
as well?
on my
Because
phone.
I did not
Just
agree
tell
to
me your
that.
version. I want to see these, and you tell me your version. So you say that did not happen?
That didn't happen.
Did he pay you rent for
first,
November?
He gave me the full rent for November 1st. He also did send me a text saying that he still had items in that property on November 1st.
What day do you say he moved out?
I mean, probably around the 25th, everything was done. But the problem was...
What do you mean by probably? You don't know what date?
I went into the property on November 24th.
I need an answer.
Coming up, the damage to the cottage is disputed.
So we have pictures of damages.
What is this a photo of?
This is the baseboards with the scratches on it.
We're talking about $1,300 worth of damages, though. This is the best you have?
Plaintiff Christopher Williams says Angela is a scamming landlord and is making up excuses to keep his money. He's suing for a rental deposit and rent rebate. He's accompanied in court by his roommate, Christopher Kives. Defendant Angela Dallier says she doesn't know because Christopher moved out and left her cottage a mess. She's countersuing for harassment.
He said he moved out on the 1st. What date do you say he moved out?
November 24th, because we cleared everything out of the cottage at that point on November 24th.
When you say you cleared things out of the cottage, you're saying that he left stuff behind that you cleared out on the 24th?
Trash, yes.
But he was gone.
He still had stuff in there.
What did you leave in there? Did you ever go back? After November 1st, you said you were fully out.
Yes.
Did you ever go back and move out additional things?
I went back one other time, and I actually
What
left.
date?
I showed the place for a tenant for her on November 5th. And the text messages show that. She asked me to show the place for her.
On November 1st, I received a text saying that he still had items in the place. I never received notification from him that he was fully out.
November 1st, I do believe I did send a message that we were coming back to get the last item at the beginning of the day, and then we would be fully moved out.
Okay. October 31st, he tells you that they've pretty much moved everything out. The rooms have to be scrubbed. He still needs to do a little more cleaning. And then the next day, he tells you everything's out. He has one more trip back for a chair and a box of trash. You respond, great, I'm not back yet. Please leave the key and I'll do a walkthrough tonight. So did you do a walkthrough on November 1st like you told him you would do?
No, the place was locked on November 1st when I got home.
But you have a key, right?
I did not have a key at that point.
Because I think it's convenient for you now to come in and say he wasn't out, he left things in the property, but the text messages show that he's telling you, come in and inspect. According to the text messages, it looked like he was out on the 1st.
But Your Honor,
you have photos of what you left the
I only
apartment
have
like?
photos of before we moved out with our stuff still in it.
What was that date, the date of those photos?
These photos are from October 12th, if I recall right. There should be a text message saying I sent her the photos.
Your Honor, I also have photos of the damages.
This is your cottage? Beautiful.
Yes. That's my downstairs bedroom and the upstairs bedroom.
Okay.
The kitchen
It
and the
doesn't
living
show
room.
the water damage, the nasty cats that were in there that scratched all the baseboards up. Doesn't show the...
Let's talk about the damages, because you say you're withholding their security deposit, which was $1,300, correct, for damages?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
it was more than that. It was over $2,000.
Show me the damages.
So we have pictures of damages. There were
Besides those
blinds that were...
blinds?
Again, Your Honor, I don't know who this individual is. Did not rent him. This could be his boyfriend, his girl. I don't know who was staying there.
It's his roommate.
That upstairs one is actually his room there, and the downstairs is mine.
Again, never seen him before in my life until today. Here's a
And-
picture of
but you had a check with
some
my
of the
name on it every
damages.
month.
You could be paying his rent. You could be his boo. I don't know.
What is this a photo of?
This is the baseboards with the scratches on it.
So this is a photo of a baseboard with scratches, and you're saying
Yes.
they caused this damage?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Well, they had cats roaming all around.
We're talking about $1,300 worth of damages, though.
More than
this
that.
is the best you have?
Over $2,000.
Over $2,000 worth of damages. And so you've
I
had
have
to
a letter
spend...
that I mailed with the list.
Let me
of
see the
those.
letter, because you're saying that you mailed them a letter.
On December 1st of all the damages. That wasn't even all of them. That's not all that we fixed. There was water damage that was piled up.
So
behind
in
the
3
refrigerator
years...
that we had to...
Now, this letter is interesting. Did you get a letter?
Not only did I not get that letter, but on January 25th, I believe, she sent me a message that she would need an additional 30 days to get me a list of the damages and stuff that need to be replaced.
So here I have a letter from December 1st, and you list all of the damages to the property and what it cost to make these repairs. Do you have proof that you actually paid someone to make these repairs?
No.
Because what I have here is a letter stating that all of these damages were made and this is how much it cost. So you actually paid someone money to repair these things?
Yes.
Okay, where's your proof that you paid someone?
Coming up on Judge Faith, do the text messages reveal a different story?
I hope he shows you all of the text messages that he sent me harassing me as well.
Every text message I've sent you since July.
You say you sent them this letter Tuesday, December 1st. So how are you telling him on January 25th that you're going to provide him with the list of damaged items, but you're in court today saying you provided that on December 1st?
Plaintiff Christopher Williams says he left his New Orleans sublet spotless. He's suing for a rental deposit and rent rebate. He's accompanied in court by his roommate, Christopher Kives. Defendant Angela Dollier says she doesn't know because Christopher damaged the rental cottage. She's countersuing for harassment.
So what piece of evidence is more important to back up your claim that they caused over $2,000 worth of damages to the home? What piece of evidence is more important than receipts showing you paid for this work to be done?
I understand.
You can't, as a landlord, come in and just say, give me a letter and say, this is how much it cost, these were the damages. I want to see proof you paid someone. Anyone could do that. I want to go to the text message from January.
I believe it's January 25th, Your Honor.
Are these on your phone?
Yes, Your Honor. If you'd like my phone, I can provide those.
It'd be easier for me.
Yeah, those are kind of in a backwards order, but I do have them open here.
I hope he shows you all of the text messages that he sent me harassing me as well.
Every text message I've sent you since July.
What do you want to say, sir?
She says there's so much damage, but then
I know she says she doesn't know who you are,
Yeah.
but I would like to hear from you.
We were able, but she would then use all the pictures we sent her saying there's so much damage, but then use them to get new tenants in. So
on Craigslist?
Yeah, on
she
Craigslist.
Posted the photos that you gave me on Craigslist?
That's why I provided those photos for her, because she
Did
wanted
you do
them
that?
for-
I used my own photos that I had on my computer as well as some photos that were taken in December.
Did you use the photos they gave? You
No,
never used those photos on Craigslist?
I had those photos.
Okay.
We walked in. I went through that place whenever you were there.
So you say you sent them this letter Tuesday, December 1st, 2015, and you have listed 10 items on here that total an amount of over $2,000 in damages. They say they never received the letter. They think that this is evidence that you have created after the fact to help with this case. Let's go to the text messages, the conversation that happened before there was ever a lawsuit.
Okay.
All right? Because here I have on January 25th, you write to Chris, Mr. Williams, and you tell him, so sorry for the delay. I need to go through the list of things that we fixed and replaced that the homeowner made us cover, blinds and whatnot. Give me another 30 days. I believe him when he said he never got this letter. If you'd already sent the list, you wouldn't be telling him you're going to send him a list.
I also have a letter from the property owner saying that she saw it and it looked good, and from the property manager.
I would like to see that letter.
Stating that there weren't any repairs that would have been her responsibility in there between November and March.
But she lives in Mississippi and has not been back here since 2013.
There were no requests for repairs between November 1st, 2015 and March 1st of 2016. So November they move out. There are no requests for repairs for November, December, January, February.
I wouldn't have requested for them to.
You know, you said that you had to pay these repairs because the owner required that of you, but you have absolutely no proof of that. I want to see something from you at this point that shows you actually paid money for repairs to this property.
Gotcha. I'm sorry.
You don't have it, right?
I don't.
Because it doesn't exist. What's your harassment claim about? You have 30 seconds to get to the point.
December 15th, he started asking me for this reimbursement. I told him I'd already mailed him a letter explaining those. He said, well, I'd like a full letter. I said, that's going to take me a while. I have the letter I sent to you that covers the amount of your deposit. It was well beyond that. Then he continued to call me, harass me. He called me from different phone numbers to make sure I answered. He showed up to my place with minor children there. I mean, he's not a normal dude. I mean, he's a little weird. So to just show up at my property when my kids are there, it was quite frightening.
Okay, all he's doing is asking for money that he believes he's owed. And I'm gonna tell you something. I just scrolled through 3 months of text messages. He's not harassing you. And in fact, he's very polite. What most people do, they're not supposed to, but everyone does it anyway. They say, use my security deposit. He knew he was moving out on November 1st. He has a $1,300 security deposit. He then pays you an additional $1,450. I believe he moved out on the 1st. So he doesn't say use my security deposit. He pays you all of the money. Not only do you keep all of November's rent, but then you keep the full amount of the security deposit because you say there were thousands of dollars in damages. You don't have one single receipt to corroborate that testimony? Absolutely nothing, and all I see is a scratch on a baseboard? Are you serious? You can't be serious.
Very.
You can't be serious. What happened with the issue with the lights?
We would come home and the power would be out. The first time she said it was she forgot to change the card over. The card expired, so she forgot to switch.
The credit card?
Yeah, the credit card.
So you come home and your lights are out?
So the lights were out. And it happened 2 more times after that, but I don't know of any other, if there was a excuse for that or what.
And so what would you do when you come home and the electricity is out in your home?
We would just leave and come back later. Just let us know when the power comes back on. And
it's unacceptable. It's absolutely unacceptable.
Your Honor.
Don't do it.
It's unacceptable. What's going on? Why are the lights out?
Your Honor, we have bad weather. There's something called Hurricane Katrina. We have bad weather.
That was 10 years ago, Ms. Dahlia. You can't keep blaming everything on Hurricane Katrina.
And now, Judge Faith rules.
Let me tell you, I'm from Louisiana, born and raised. Y'all come here from New Orleans, you have one job, not to make us look bad. You making us look bad right now.
All right.
You making us look bad. I don't like what you did. You wrongfully withheld their security deposit because he gave you 30 days notice on October 5th. I find that you did not have a valid basis to keep his security deposit. I'm ordering you to return the full $1,300. I think they kept the cottage in great condition. You have tenants who have been in this cottage for 2 years. You never had a problem with them. You say you never even saw him. He's quiet. You don't see him. They're paying the rent on time every month. Come on now. You can't treat people like this. I hope I can have a tenant like you one day. I really do.
Thank you,
if
Your
I
Honor.
ever rent. I don't know if I will, based on all these cases I hear coming before me. That's a total judgment in the plaintiff's favor for $2,508. Your counterclaim for harassment is dismissed, ma'am. Good luck.